G'day everybody, Chris from the Headache and Pain Management Centre here for your Tuesday morning, and I'm actually in the airport waiting for a flight to Melbourne today. I thought that today, after getting a text message from a patient of mine that I saw last night, I thought I'd talk about fear and anxiety when it comes to pain and its relationship with how pain actually works. It's really an interesting and fascinating connection within your brain where this happens. So what we now know about pain is that pain, fear, anxiety, nausea, dizziness, all of these sorts of feelings that we describe are all outputs from your brain. So what that means is that you have an input, so whether it's some light, whether it's sound, whether it is a memory, something happening under your skin, muscle strain, something like that. Basically what you feel, like whether it be pain or nausea or dizziness, is basically an output by your brain. And what that means is that your brain takes all the information in, has to scramble it up, make sense of it all, and then you get a physical manifestation of what it all means. So when you get anxious, basically what that means is that, when someone's describing anxiety, it means you're a bit sort of tight in the chest, you're short of breath, your heart rate's getting a bit higher, you're feeling a little bit of cold sweat coming across your forehead. You might feel like that you're hyperventilating or breathing a bit more shallowly. Now, when we've got pain, it's exactly the same thing. So when we have pain, there's an input that comes in, so whether it's from some receptors in your fingers or receptors in your skin or around your body, which gets sent to your brain has to make sense of what's going on with those signals coming up. And then the pain is an output, so your pain actually becomes real as a result of what happens with what's happening inside your brain. So it takes the signals in and then outputs what we call pain. Now, what's the relationship between fear, anxiety and pain? Well, basically what it is that fear, anxiety and pain are all protective outputs. So what it means is that it's basically trying to get you to change behaviour. So when you have pain, what your brain is trying to do is to say, hey, stop doing what is causing this pain to happen. It's the same as when you've got sort of a fear or anxiety response. It's like, hey, step away from that crocodile or step away from that dog. It's actually getting you to change your behaviour so that you don't undertake that dangerous action. Now that's a really useful thing to happen when you've got something that's acutely scary, acutely dangerous, for example, or acutely unsafe. So obviously if we didn't have this mechanism, we'd be doing all sorts of dangerous things like, wading into creeks with crocodiles involuntarily. We'd be stepping on hot roads with our shoes on. We'd be sort of not taking due care when we're looking to cut things up with a knife on a chopping board. So obviously having pain stops us from doing things that are actually inherently dangerous. The problem is that when you have chronic pain or chronic anxiety, almost like a PTSD type thing, is that the pain or anxiety responses are no longer useful. So they're not there to actually protect you from anything that's actually happening. It's more that your brain's alarm system is really cranking up much higher in response to something very small. It's almost like your brain has the analogy I like to use is basically having a piece of bread in the toaster and there's the fire alarm going off. Okay, so obviously there's not even a fire, there might be a little bit of heat or a bit of smoke coming from the toaster, but it's not dangerous. And for people with a really nasty chronic pain condition, which I've got a patient at the moment who can sit for only a very short period of time and would have pain for hours afterwards, it's almost like there's bread in the toaster, but not only is the smoke alarm going off, but it's also causing the fire brigade to come along and water down your house and sending the riot squad in and calling a national emergency because of that piece of bread in the toaster. Obviously the response is way too high for the stimulus coming in. So basically the stimulus coming in isn't dangerous, but your brain is interpreting those signals as very dangerous and therefore getting the pain as the output, and pain that's over and above what's normal or what's needed for that situation. G'day there, it's nice to see you. Type in below and say hello. So basically when we're talking about fear, anxiety, pain, they're all outputs of the body and they're very useful when there is an acute danger or there's a lack of safety that's around. The problem when it comes is when it becomes more and more sensitive. So the threshold to be met is much lower, so that pain, fear, anxiety then comes much, much easier. And of course, when that happens, because your fear, your anxiety, your pain, and these sorts of outputs all very closely related inside your brain, then it becomes the one jumbled mess where you get the fear, anxiety, and pain all coming on at once. So even looking at something like picking up a pen off the floor or starting to do vacuuming sets a chain reaction in motion where you feel scared about doing it because of the pain. You're not going to do it because you feel scared, and then it just turns on and on and on and on and just keeps going round and round. So what we need to do is firstly educate what's going on with your pain. So diagnose what's going on, have a really good assessment as to why your pain is actually there, the real reason why it's there. Diagnose and assess, then we treat the underlying cause of the pain. So it might be movement dysfunction, it might be your fears and beliefs, it might be a combination of all of it. And then what we're wanting to do is self-manage that, so you have the tools and the power to be able to deal with all of that once it is all sorted out. I hope that's been helpful. If there's anyone who needs some information about fear, anxiety, and regards to pain, type in their names below. I'm happy to touch base with them, and also ask any questions that you have below about about fear, anxiety, and pain, because I can answer them for you. Hey, it's been wonderful talking to you again this Tuesday, and I'll be back once again actually with a special video from Melbourne tomorrow. But otherwise, we'll talk to you again soon. Cheers, bye for now.